Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you can play Mr. Brightside by The Killers in standard guitar tuning. Now if you have ever tried to play this song before, you'll know that to get that intro riff you're going to have to tune down a semitone, which can cause issues on gigs or jam nights if you ever want to play this song. But I've learned a quick hack and I'm going to show you in this video how you can do this in standard tuning. Now there's a part 1 of this video where I just cover solely the intro riff. This is part number 2 where I'm going to be doing the rest of the song, okay? Lots of people ask me in the comments and on email if I can cover the rest of the song, and that's what we'll be doing in this video. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to do it. In this video then, we're going to be looking at Mr. Brightside by The Killers in standard tuning. But if you haven't done it already, hit like to like the video, click subscribe to subscribe to the channel, and hit that alert bell so you don't miss any updates. If you want the PDF notation with a tab, the chord charts, etc, etc, everything I'm going to talk about in this video, if you want it all written out in a workbook, you'll see a link below in the description. So make sure you grab that, as it's going to be really, really helpful because I'm going to share a lot of information with you in this video. Right then, let's just get stuck in. So if you haven't seen part number 1 already, go and do that first. In part 1, I focused on the riff, okay? So obviously, if you ever tried to learn this song before, you'll know that the guitarist actually tunes down a semitone to achieve that open kind of ringing sound. It's an open E string when he's doing it, all the way, or technically it's E flat, I guess, if he's tuned down all the way through that, okay? Which can cause issues if you ever need to play this on a gig with your mates in a jam night. It's really, really hard to get that riff without tuning your guitar down a semitone. And what I showed you in the other video is how to do the riff all the way through with the capo, your best friend, the capo. We learned that if you put a capo on the 4th fret, you can play that intro riff in a different way and make it sound pretty much the same. Obviously, it's not 100% identical, but it's good enough for many gigs, and I've certainly done this on many, many gigs myself. But what we're going to do in this video then, I'm going to show you the rest of the song. And the way we're going to treat this, I'm going to show you the chords you need, all the different chord voicings, and then I'm going to show you how you can play the original guitar parts as well. And then later in the video, I'm going to do a full playthrough based on everything that I showed you. So the first thing to do, if you're going to use a capo, anything really above the 3rd fret, I highly recommend you clip your capo on first, and then you tune with the capo on your guitar neck. Now 4th fret, it'll probably be okay. However, the further up the neck you go, you'll probably start to notice most guitars, if you're ever used to playing with a capo, do start to go out of tune. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm just going to put the capo on the 4th fret and double check my tuning with the capo on. So as you can see there, my G string, whether that comes through the microphone, but certainly by my tuning, my G string then was really, really sharp, and that's just from putting the capo on, okay? So couple of chords, guitars in tune, and we're ready to go. So as I said in part number 1, check that out if you haven't seen it. We did the intro riff. Let's just look at the next section. So we have the pre-chorus, the chorus, the kind of guitar instrumental after the chorus, and also the full instrumental at the end to cover. So we're just going to look at the chords first, okay? So the chords are going to be as follows. Coming out of the riff then, into the next section, we're going to get this chord. Okay, that is B flat minor. Okay, so just one thing to note when you're playing with the capo. Some people think that by putting the capo on, it's changing everything. It's really, really not. It's only changing your open strings, which also alters your open chords. If I was to play any bar chord, this is going to be the same. So by playing the 6th fret with my low finger on the low E, that's on the B flat on the 6th fret, and just playing a minor shape, that's still going to give me B flat minor regardless of where the capo is. So I could move the capo to the 1st fret. It's still exactly the same, okay? So what I'm kind of getting at is when you're playing bar chords with a capo, the chord is still the same as it would be without a capo, okay? So the first chord we're going to be playing like that is a B flat minor. Then we go to an A flat. Now we are playing an E chord, but obviously because of the capo, that's actually an A flat chord. But look at that as your E shape. Okay, so... and then we go to that chord, okay? Now that's a G flat, but when we're playing it with a capo, we can look at that as like a D. But don't play, as you'd normally play a D chord shape like this, don't play that high finger and just play to the B string. It'll just sound a bit too, it's a bit too sweet if you play that at top E string. Okay, so we get B flat minor, A flat major, G flat major. Okay, so we'd get coming out of the riff. Okay, I'll count this time. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, change 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that takes us into the chorus. Okay, so some of you might see that as F sharp if you're thinking of it like that. It kind of fries my brain a bit when I do this. E and D, but I'm literally looking at it as B flat minor, A flat, and G flat. But I am actually seeing that when I'm playing that I'm playing an E shape and a D shape for those chords. Now we have some other options for these chords as well, which can sound really, really nice. For the B flat minor chord, we can do it like this. If you can reach, and you don't have to do this, the B flat minor is fine. If you can get that thumb over the top, and you do it like this. I've got my first finger in the 6th fret on the G, little finger in the 8th on the D, third finger in the 8th on the A, thumb over the top on the 6th fret on the E string, and we can strum all the strings. So we're leaving the B and the E open, so we get this. That's B flat minor 11, okay? Sounds really, really nice for this part of the song. Okay, if that's an awkward shape, you can play it like this as well. You can put your index finger on the 6th fret on the low E, your middle finger on the 6th fret on the G, and your little finger in the 8th fret on the D string. Make sure then with this index finger, you're going to catch the A string to mute it, and you can strum all the strings. B flat minor 11. Okay, so options are number 1, just standard B flat minor chords are going to sound great. If you can get that thumb over, option 2, or option 3 was like this. Or failing that, if it's really difficult, you could just play from the D string downwards. So I'm basically just ignoring the A and the E string. Okay, that chord just really, really adds to sort of the colour of the song. It's very similar to the riff we will look at in a sec as well. Okay, so for this next chord, the A flat or the E shape, you could actually play it like this as well. So what I'm doing there, I'm doing a little bar in the 6th fret across the A and the D. And my little finger is going to play the 8th fret on the G string, and I'm going to let the E and the B ring open. Okay, so that's what we had, which was A flat major, and then this new version is known as A flat 5, okay? Coming on to the riff, we will be using both of those chords. It's just a few options for you. So let me just play that through. I'm going to use a B flat minor 11 chord into an A flat 5. So that sounds like this. And then into the G flat chord. Now, as I said, you could play a G flat major, which is just like playing a D major chord, but it sounds a little bit sweet. So really, we just want to strum to the B string, which gives us G flat 5, or you could catch the open E string and get G flat sus2. I would personally keep it to a G flat 5, where we're just playing to the B string, okay? Okay, so I'm actually talking what the names of the chords are. Obviously, if you're seeing that as your D chord because you're playing with a capo, that's absolutely fine. So let me play through that then. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2. Just B flat minor 11 onto A flat 5 to G flat 5. Okay, and strumming wise, there I was just playing all 1 and 2. I'm playing 8th notes, all with downstrokes. I am accenting in different places, but even if you just play it straight 8ths like this, it's going to sound great. One other option you have for that final G flat chord, you could play like this with just one finger on, and that would be G flat 6. Now that will fit with the riff that we're going to come on to, okay? So it's basically just like the chord you had, and you're just going to place that one finger, the index finger, on the 6th fret on the G string. So that sounds like this. Kind of unresolved, and it kind of makes you question things, but it sounds really great, and it'll fit with the riff we're going to learn in a little while. So we could play B flat minor 11, lovely, A flat 5 to G flat 6, and that all sounds like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's your options for the pre-chorus. Let's move on into the chorus. I'm going to play around once, and then I'm going to show you what the chords are. Okay, so the first chord is a D flat. However, if with the capo, you might see this as an A. Okay, now I find that pretty tricky like that, to finger it that way in that area of the neck, because it's quite close. So I'm just going to use a little bar. So I'm literally playing a bar across the 6th fret on the D, the G and the B. So the second chord then is going to be the G flat again. You can do it as a major this time, or just a 5 as we did previously. There's our major with this note. 5 if we're not playing the E string, or the sus if you do it without that finger letting the E string ring through. So one more time, G flat major, G flat 5 is where we just strum to the B string, and G flat sus is if we use that open E string. Again, you might be seeing that as D things because it's a D shape, which is absolutely fine. Okay, so the next chord then is going to be B flat minor again. You can play it as your minor bar chord, or any of the other shapes we looked at for the pre-chorus. Okay, or you can play it like this, which is known as a B flat minor 7. So we put our 3rd finger in the 8th fret on the D, index in the 6th fret on the G, little finger in the 9th fret on the B, and we want to play the open E string and let it ring out. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could get that middle finger over and play the 8th fret on the A string. Sounds great, but it is a little bit more tricky. I'll leave that one up to you. I normally will just play like this and not strum the E or the A string, or use my thumb to mute those strings. Okay, and then the final chord is our A flat again, which you could play with it as we did previously, the A flat 5, or as an A flat major chord, like that. Okay, so let me just play through those chorus chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes into sort of like a post-chorus section, like a little instrumental with the synths, etc. Exactly the same chords as the chorus. And that's everything. So we have our main riff from video 1. We looked at the pre-chorus chords and also the chorus and post-chorus chords as well. So let's talk about the actual guitar riffs within these chords. And if you've listened to the original, you'll be familiar with there's actually sort of like riffs going on through the chords. There's multiple guitar parts on this track anyway. So what we've done so far, if that's how you want to play it all the way through, that's going to sound great. But we could actually do this sort of thing as well. Okay, so what I was doing there, I was playing pretty much there or thereabouts the same way as you would if you did it with your guitar tuned down a semitone. It's very different if you do it like that. This is sort of an adapted version for a capo, but no one's ever going to know. It sounds really, really good. Let me just play that one more time. Okay, so that is actually pretty tricky, and I'll just show you a few other ways around it as well. So what we're doing, we sort of, that B minor 11 chord that we looked at earlier, we're kind of doing that, but we're going to sack off the 3rd finger, so we keep the open A string. Now you could finger it like this. I'm doing 6 on the E, open A, 8th on the D, 6th on the G string. So you could play it like that. Or you can get the thumb over the top, fret the 8th fret with the 3rd finger, 6th fret on the G with your index. Okay, so that's up to you. I'm tending to edge towards me personally with the thumb over the top, but you can do it the other way. Now the picking pattern for this is pretty tricky, but it's the same on every single chord, okay? So I'll go through the chords first. So that's the first one. So the second chord we're going to be playing looks like this. So if index finger on the 6th on the D, middle finger on the 6th on the G, okay? And the picking will be the same when we get to it. And then the final chord is simply that one, that G flat 6, which is just your index finger on the G string. So let's look at the picking, because once you get the hang of that, this section is a lot easier. First of all, then we'll practice it with that B flat minor 11, okay? So picking wise, if I hold down the chord, we're going to do this. E, A, G, D, B string, okay? So that's the tricky part there. Then you're going to bring in your little finger, your pinky, and do 8, pull off to the 6th fret. Okay, so let me just do that slowly. And then play the D string again. So it's E string, A string, G string, D string, B string, 8th fret, pull off the 6th, D string. Okay, that's pretty hard. Now, if you did fumble this a little bit, it's not the end of the world. As long as you get that sort of end bit, so you could kind of, I don't know, fumble it a bit on purpose this time. So as long as you get that ba-da-da-do, as long as that's the bit that sort of sticks through the mix when you really listen to it and the bit people know. So as long as you get that bit, it's, the rest of it, you can kind of fumble it, but that is the actual part, okay? And then we do the same thing on the next chord. There's the same pull off with the same picking. E string, A string, G string, D string, B string, 8, pull off the 6, D string. But again, if I fumbled it, as long as you're getting the that bit, it's going to sound great. And then the same thing on the final one. This time we're going to need to do D string, A string, G string. And then back to the D, D, A, G, D, B, pull off, open D. So let me just play that one slowly. But again, if you fumbled it, as long as you get the in the right place, it'll sound fine. Fumbled that, it still sounded good. Okay, so let me play that section. I'm just gonna play it. If I play the don't play the pattern perfectly, it doesn't matter too much, as I'm kind of getting at. That is the pattern. It's pretty tricky picking. Okay, so try and get it close. But if it's not perfect, don't worry, it'll sound great. So it sounds like this. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but it sounded pretty good to me. So that's the pre-chorus section, probably the hardest. That's going to get a little bit easier. So let's look at the chorus. It sounds like this. Okay, so that's the line, and it sort of fits within the chords. So I'll just talk you through the part first, and then I'll show you how it fits with the chords. So we're going to do 6th fret, B, and the G string, so little bars, and we just play 6 on the B, 6 on the G over and over, so like this. For one bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then bring your middle finger to play the 7th fret on the B, and then there's the same picking. Little finger comes up to the 9th fret on the B. Okay, so we're always keeping that 6th finger on the G string, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. And you can sort of see how that fits in the chords. Here was our first chord, our D flat. Our second one, our G flat. And then we did this B flat minor 7. Okay, so you could kind of play it like that perfectly, or you can kind of play a combination of the chords and the part, this sort of thing like this. Okay, so let's look at the part that sits over our A flat chord. It sounds like this. Okay, there's really two ways to do this. The one I normally end up playing, and probably the easiest version if you can get to it quick enough. So we play the 8th fret on the G, 6th fret on the D, 6th fret on the G, 6th fret on the D, then 5th fret on the G, 6th fret on the D, 6th fret on the G, 6th fret on the D. Now that's normally the way I end up kind of landing on it fingering wise, with my little finger on the 8th fret on the G and my index. So I do little finger, little bar, switch to my index and middle, and then use my 3rd finger. Now really, if you can get that middle finger in place on the 6th fret on the G straight away, it's way easier. Okay, so if you can get from the part that comes before it, this bit, it is much easier to finger like that. But normally in the heat of the moment, I never quite get it and I fumble it a little bit. But like I said, it will sound good enough. Okay, this is like an adaptation of the original part. So let me just play that chorus through as it should be. Okay, and that's the first part of the chorus. Okay, so as you can see, it sort of all fits in the chords as well. Okay, so if you were to play a more chordy version, you can actually get that line to come out as well. So the second half of the chorus sounds like this. Okay, so that's the second part of the chorus. It's exactly the same chords, but we're just doing like a picking part, okay? So it's the start off with a D flat chord, but I'm going to finger like this with my index and middle finger on the 6th fret on the G and the B. And the picking is, so E, B, G, E, B, G, E, B, and the picking will be the same for every chord. Then we simply play a G flat, so it's the entire chord this time, so that basically just looks exactly like, as you would imagine, a D chord, so that's a D shape. Okay, so the first two, same picking. Then we move up to this shape, okay, which is B flat minor 7, 9 on the high E, 9 on the B, 10 on the G string. And in the 9th fret, I'm borrowing with my index, same picking, E, B, G, E, B, G, E, B. Okay, so. And the next part is exactly the same as we had in the end of the chorus. Okay, so let me play that part all the way through. Okay, so we have one final bit to learn, and that's everything in this song. The only last part is sort of like the guitar solo after the chorus, just before the ending, okay? The part that goes like this. Okay, so that part still follows the chorus chords. We're just doing a little bit more work with our fret in hand, okay? So we're kind of coming back to this note over and over again. So it's going to be the 6th fret on the G. We're going to plant our index finger. I'm going to get this. We're going to bar across the 6th fret, across the B and the G. I'm going to get B, G, B, G. Then 7 on the B. Back to the G string. So every time we play a higher note, we're going to revert back to that G string. And then little finger in the 9th fret on the B string. So. And then a high E string underneath that bar on the 6th fret. And then we're going to come back down. So let me just play you all of that. And a bit slower. Okay, and then the second half sounds like this. So the last part is something we've already played, so just one more bit to learn, and it sounds like this. So again, keep that bar what it is. We can do 6, 6, 6, 6, 7 on the B, 6 on the G. Back to 6 on the B, so. Let me play that from the beginning, so. And then this that we've learnt in the chorus. Okay, so of course, if you have learnt it up this kind of area of the neck previously, that's fine, it still works. I'm just giving you an option to play it with these new chords, because I could do that riff around the chords, because the chords are... Okay, so there I was picking out the melody. So if you were, say, in a band, a 3-piece band, for example, and you wanted to fill it all out a bit, you could do it kind of like this. Where I'm picking out the melody and still playing the chords, okay? And phew, that is all the information needed that you need to do to play Mr. Brightside with a capo. Now, of course, as I said, some of the other riffs will work in other places. If you wanted to strum the chords like we just did right at the beginning, if you want to pick all of this stuff out, you can do. So make sure you watch part 1 before all of this. If you've kind of watched this video through and you think, hang on, he hasn't done the riff, go to part 1. I covered the riff in great detail in another video. And as you can see, that was also really, really detailed. It's a long video with a lot of information. So what I'm going to do, before I wrap this video up, I am going to play that song all the way through with the parts. It might not be absolutely perfect because I'm just going to do it in one take, and I'm going to try and do the parts exactly as the record if I can, and some I might strum as if I was kind of just playing this live with a band, and it all sounds like this. Okay, and that was me playing it through with the backing tracks. You can sort of see all the bits that we've learned in this video all put together. Obviously, if you don't have a capo, you need to go out and get one. Otherwise, none of this is going to be possible. But I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, click like to like the video, hit subscribe to subscribe to the channel, and click that alert bell so you don't miss any updates. If you want a workbook with everything that I've covered in this lesson, there's a lot of stuff in this workbook. It's completely free. You'll see a link below in the description, so make sure you grab that. Also, if you want some more content from myself, come and check out my online guitar school, Fretlix, www.fretlix.com. Loads of great courses, lessons, masterclasses, much more, guaranteed to help you become a better guitarist. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you again soon.